What's up, intentional creators? My name is Tony. I believe there is a huge difference between knowing what you want and actually living in a way that creates it. This stream exists to demonstrate that difference in real time. I'm not here to tell you I have life all figured out. I'm here to deliberately choose what I want, put that intention to action, and let you watch what happens when life pushes back. Old patterns show up, and I have to return to what I chose. Trading happens to be one of the places where I demonstrate it, because the market gives me nowhere to hide. What I intended to do and what I actually do are right there for anyone to see. So if you're serious about becoming an intentional creator of your own life, not just wanting something different, but learning how to participate in creating it, I invite you to come along. I'll walk my creation, you walk yours, and we'll see what happens when attention becomes conduct. Sorry about that. I'm actually getting over bronchitis and I'm still having some issues in my chest. So I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit weird or, anything along those lines. Jose, how's it going? Barat, yes. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yes, I am back. I apologize for my 7-day hiatus, but it is over and hopefully we won't have any more of those issues moving forward. Okay. So I've had a lot of time to really think about what I want to do with this stream, what I want to do with all of this in general. And in that context, what I've been doing is focusing on order flow. And here's the problem with that. We're top-down traders, right? We look at the big picture, and then we break down into the smaller time frames. Well, if all I'm demonstrating and teaching is a smaller time frame, then what is it that I am doing? What I'm doing is doing you and myself a complete disservice. And this is why. We're focused here on footprint charts. Okay? Well, entering the markets is only one aspect. And it's actually the smallest aspect, but it's the one aspect that we put most of our time and energy into. Why do we put most of our time and energy into entries? Because it's what gets us into the market. And why do we want to get into the market? Because we want the results. Why do we want the results? Because we want whatever we think that the markets are going to give us. Well, let me change a little bit about what you think about what the markets are going to give you. If you're focused on results, what you're going to get is results. But most of us aren't in the markets for revenue. We're in the markets afraid of losing, afraid of risk, afraid of blowing up an account, afraid of taking expenses, afraid of being wrong. And let me tell you, these fears, these things inside of us, they're the ones that are holding our intention, not what we want. This is why most of us struggle, because most of us come to trading as result-oriented individuals. We have to learn how to become process-oriented. But when we are result-oriented individuals, our intention is to make money in the markets. Our fears are afraid of losing money in the markets. And so what do? We try to find places to enter to pick up revenue. Then we turn around and get an expense. And what does that expense do? Turns around and takes over our conviction of what we want, our conviction of what we want to receive, a conviction of our results. But conviction alone is not choice. We choose our conviction. But that choice of conviction doesn't always choose our actions, our conduct, the way we behave. And when our fears are conducting our actions for us, what's going to happen? Our results are going to reflect those fears. This is true for every aspect of life. Trading is just an easy way to demonstrate it because trading is one of those things that's so easy to trigger our conviction of fearing, of being wrong, of failing in a trade, not being smart enough, not being good enough, not having the right methodology. And it's this fear that controls our conduct, not our conviction of becoming profitable traders. Now, markets is a good way to test to see what's causing this in other areas of our lives. Because it's happening in our trading, it's happening in other areas as well. So I'm not going to demonstrate footprints today. I'm going to do something very different. We're going to talk about TPOs. Why? Because structuring our entries is more important than figuring out how to enter. Where to enter, why we're entering, is much more important to know. Why? Because the more we understand the markets, not our entries, the more we understand the markets, the auction itself, the more we're going to understand a process aligned to the conduct we need to take to achieve our conviction. What's our conviction? To be profitable traders, or whatever it might be in your own life, whatever you're convicted in, whatever your intention is. See, conduct doesn't follow intention. Conduct doesn't follow conviction. Conduct follows patterns. And if we're triggering patterns not aligned to the conduct aligned to the results we want, then we're following patterns that are leading us away from the results that we want. And this is why most people struggle with trading. This is why I struggle with trading. Why? I'm very result oriented. And when I let my results trigger my conviction, become my conviction, I start taking action in the markets that I have no business taking. Outside of my plan. To get my money back. To make the money I expect to make in a day. Whatever it might be. And all of those results in my head are now triggering my actions, triggering my conduct, my behavior. And as long as my conduct and behavior is aligned to those triggers, I already know what the results are going to be, and it's not going to be aligned to profitable trading. So this is completely different from what I've been doing before. I'm not here to teach people how to trade. I can't teach people how to trade. What I can do is demonstrate the ideas necessary to achieve any intention you want in your life. Just using trading as a laboratory for that. We all have things in our lives that we want to do. And when we listen to most individuals, they're not living the life aligned to what it is that they want to be doing, what they want to be achieving, what they want to have in their life. And the reason why we're not doing that is because we haven't been taught. We haven't been taught how to link, how to align our conduct to our conviction. Because our conviction gets hijacked by the patterns we learned from our past. And this is why we feel like we're stuck in life. Because we can't seem to be able to manifest our conviction inside our reality. Not because we're broken, not because something's wrong with us, because we haven't been taught. Because most people look at human nature and this thing that's causing us this gap between our conviction and our conduct. They think it's a part of human nature and it's something that's inherently broken inside of us. But I'm here to tell you right now, I'm sitting here in front of you not broken. If I was, I definitely wouldn't be speaking this in the airways, in the ether. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't have the confidence to do this. There's absolutely no way. It's only because I'm not broken that I'm able to do this, yet I still struggle with the chasm. Not the gap, the chasm between my conviction and my conduct. And I'm tired of it. And why am I tired of it? Because that chasm keeps me from being able to achieve the results of my life that I really, really, really want to live, that I'm intentional about, that I'm convicted in. And I know other people are struggling with this same concept. And I'm tired of the struggle in myself. And I'm tired of hearing the struggle in other people, not because I'm tired of hearing the stories, not because I'm tired of hearing the pain that other people are in, because I'm tired that the pain exists in the first place for myself and for others. So if you're serious about bridging the gap between your conviction, your intentions, and your conduct, then I invite you to join me. Not for you to do as I do, not for you to do as I say, not to say I have all of life figured out, but it's about time that as human beings, we start to figure out how to bridge this gap, because it's not working. And it's not working, and all we keep on doing is creating more conflict within this world, conflict within ourselves, conflict within the environment of our reality. And it's about time that as human beings, we start living a different existence. And that starts with the individual. That starts with me, myself. And I'm going to do it here live. Why? Because honestly, it's the only way that I can think of doing it to start bridging the gap enough that I can get started. This is something that I need to do for myself, because if I don't, I'm going to cower behind all of my fears, going to use them as my identity, explain them away, or pretend like they don't exist. And I'm not going to get to the bottom of my actual conviction and what behavior I need to be taken, rather than continuing to make the same mistakes over and over again. Because I'm tired of reliving the same mistakes. I'm ready to live a new reality. And I tell you this right now, I have way too much gray hair to be talking about this, because at 50 years old, I should already have all of this figured out. And to be quite frank with you, I don't. And you know what? That's okay. Let the haters judge. Let the trolls judge all they want to. I don't really care. This is my life. This is my experience. And I get to recreate my fucking experience anytime I want to, any way I want to. And that's my decision, and that's my choice. And by doing this stream, I'm living that choice. Excuse my language and my French. I apologize. I'm a former Marine, a jarhead. Sometimes I just speak it bluntly. So, what are we going to do to understand market structure so we can use it to structure our trading? I can't move this any farther right than it already is, unfortunately. So we have to look at this right here. But what I want to do is I want to use this structure here, and I'm going to put it in a box for us, as a structure we want to analyze. So what happened in the market? We have initiative action coming out of this whole area. And in that initiative action, we come back into an area of value with smaller initiative action again and rejection off of the highs. Okay? That's how we should be analyzing the market. Jason, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. It's good to be back. It is good to be back. And thank you for your support. Thank you for being back here after my 7-8 days away from streaming. Excuse me. I'm still coughing from time to time, so don't I apologize the rudeness, but that's what happens sometimes. I'm getting over it. I have another appointment on Thursday, and hopefully that will be the end of this, and I can move on. We'll see. We got some tests coming back, and we'll see what's going on. So in the context of reading the market, okay, instead of focusing on order flow, All right. Really understanding what's happening in the market itself. Now, we can use any chart that we want to in order to see the same exact information that we're seeing here. Any chart. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the chart is. Any chart. Not the chart I wanted. Where is it? Where's my daily chart at? I just had it up. I just put it up here. There we go. This is telling us the same information as this. There's no difference. It's the same thing. Initiative action. Price action moves into sideways consolidation area. We reject off of the lows. Price action has another initiative action to the upside. And then we start to move back into value again, into balance. It's the same exact thing. So why use TPOs over a regular candlestick chart? What is it about TPOs that might be able to give us an edge? Because TPOs tell us where the range is within value. This gives us bars. Bars are great. We can get useful information out of bars. But bars alone can't tell us where value is, where we are coming out of value, how volume, how price is distributing around an area. Not just traded in, not where the price opened, closed, where the high and the low were, and what we can get off of a bar chart. No, we can see what's going on within price. Not only can we see what's going on in price, but we can use them as well to tell us what's going on in volume. And various TPOs in volume. Why do I use deep charts? Because it makes it very easy for me to put anything on my charts that I might possibly want to look at. So when we go in to read this information, all right, the first one we want to look at is day one. Day one is an upside continuation day. That's how I explain day one. Day one, you can say, is an initiative. You can say it's all sorts of stuff. I'm basically calling it an upside continuation day. Why? We were trending up. It's a continuation to the upside. So it's an upside continuation day. Don't want to make anything crazy. Don't want to make anything too complicated. We're going to keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it stupid, simple. Whichever one you want to work with, just remember the KISS system. Okay? Now, what can we get out of knowing that this day was an upside continuation day? Day one right here. Well, for tomorrow to become another initiative continuation day, it must eventually accept above the latest value area here. And we accepted above this area of value almost all day until we came into the lows on a down day. So we opened higher, we tried to move price higher, and we came back down into value area high. Now, if we were going to extend the range here, we probably would have opened down here, tested into this as the low, and came up and closed up here into this area. But we didn't do that. We did just the opposite. Opened above, came back down, and held the lows for the rest of the day, trading most of the volume into the higher area, and we were only able to break the high by a few points. And in this case, 68 to 79, 11 points. Okay? We want to see volume accumulating above value area high rather than merely printing above it. These are prints above the high. We accumulated volume above the high, yet we closed below accumulated volume. So we shouldn't be looking at the next day to be a continuation to the upside. Can we see that on a daily chart? Sure. We have an up bar of initiation. We've got a down bar. We can anticipate the next day to be down because of the down bar and where it closed in the bottom 1/3 of the range. I get my chart back up. Sorry. Not it. Here we go. We want to be seeing VPOC moving higher. And VPOC actually moved lower in the day. What's a VPOC? The highest area of value in the range. VPOC was up here. How do you know? Because you have a higher volume node up here, and we came down lower and developed more volume in this area down in here, meaning VPOC continued down. Now, this is where we want to go to a shorter time frame chart. What day is this? Hey, Ram, how's it going? How's your trading going, Ram? Talk to me. What you been up to? I haven't been trading. I have been sick and I haven't been trading, and it has really sucked, and I'm trying to get myself back into it as quickly as possible because I miss it. Wish I had more data in here, but I don't. So I can't really go back into that particular day. At least on that time frame. Let me see if I can. Oh, you know what? I can over here. See, I've been gone for a week and I forgot what it is that I am doing. Isn't that typical? All right, what's the date here? July 31. That can't be right. Hold on. Yep, that is right. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's see. I have the down day. I don't have the up. So this down day right here. In the context of the downward move, we're making lower lows. We're not making higher highs. This is from that up move the day before, the higher highs. Vito, how's it going? It's good to see you. I apologize. I was sick for a week. I had bronchitis and I didn't want it to turn into pneumonia. So I just kind of chilled. Now I'm trying to drink a lot more water than I was drinking before. So price action moved down and made lower lows. So the way this day developed, I'm feeling much better. Thank you. I appreciate it. I haven't been trading, but I'm feeling better. How are things going with you? Price action came down on that particular day. We shouldn't be looking at continuation to the upside. We should be looking at a continuation to the downside. Now we have the high level balance day, which is this one right here. And then we have day 3, which is the one step, which is the repair day. It's the first meaningful sign of weakness would be acceptance below the latest value area, which would be here, and back into the previous upper profile, which would be in here. And that's what happened on this particular day. All right. This here is that first sign of weakness, right? Good. Good. Yes, it should be all good over here on my side as well. Just getting back into the saddle and getting ready to move on this little next adventure. I had plenty of time to think, and sometimes me and thinking is not necessarily a good thing. Ram, you're trying to include GEX levels as confluence and gave back to market with poor risk management. This is why I'm very careful adding stuff to my charts. This is why when individuals say, well, you don't use GEX, why don't you use GEX? Well, we didn't use GEX back when I started trading, and I don't really want to add something else to the equation. The last time I added something to the equation of my trading was in 2012, and that was TPO charts, and that's when I went full time in TPOs and order flow. Was in 2013. I started studying it in 2011, 2013, 2012 is when I was really working on putting it into practice. But why don't I add things to my chart? Because honestly, I don't really feel like I need more analysis. I don't feel like I need the information of GEX. I don't feel like I need anything different than what it is that I'm already using. I just need to be able to apply what I'm using through conviction instead of through all of the stuff that that chooses my conduct for me. So now the question becomes, it's not about trading. It's about how do we bridge that gap? Conviction and conduct. What is conviction and intention? What do you want? What do you want for your life? A conviction is a bit more than that. A conviction is what do you want with belief, right? What do you really want? In other words, what is your purpose? That's a conviction. But convictions start with intention. How do we know what our purpose is? I don't really even like the idea of purpose anyhow, because purpose makes it sound like, oh, well, this is my life purpose. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Oh, wow. Okay. If you're an individual that believes that, please absolutely continue believing that. But for me, absolutely not. I can't do that. Why can't I do that? Because I change my mind sometimes, a lot of times. You know, if I have a life purpose, what am I going to do with all the squirrels in my life? I can't follow them. And sometimes following squirrels are fun. I don't want to lose that. But our conduct, our behavior, especially in trading, is definitely not always aligned to that conviction, our purpose, our intention of being a trader or becoming a profitable trader or being a profitable trader, being a funded, long-term funded trader. There's very few of them out there. A lot of people have the intention, but very few people actually do it. Why? Because aligning your conviction, what you want, what you choose that you want for your life, to action, it's extremely difficult to do. Extremely difficult to do. So how do we bridge that gap? That's more important than reviewing charts. Figuring out where price can go is actually not that difficult. It really isn't. We do it all the time. People can break down charts like it's cool. What is this chart telling us? This chart's telling us that we're turning around and trading here in this area of balance. We're anticipating a breakout at some point in time because markets don't trade in value forever. Well, what's the market doing? It's making lower highs and lower lows, and overall a higher high and a lower low. So directionally speaking, the market really doesn't have a direction right now. It's what we call in the middle. And there's a amazing previous ex floor trader that always says, don't fiddle in the middle. He says that. And this is fiddling in the middle. but we should anticipate a breakout. Which direction is it going to break out in? We don't know yet. We have no idea. We can guess, but that's the problem. If we don't know and we go in to act and we don't know, it's going to trigger all of our fears and all of our emotions and all of our misgivings about trading in general. And we're going to turn around and we're going to mismanage everything that we do from that point on. Because our intention of becoming profitable traders is not aligned to that conduct. Because we shouldn't be in at this point. We shouldn't be in at this time. So what should we wait for? Either price action to move into an area where we would anticipate rejection to move back up into the higher area of value, or we should be waiting for a breakout and a pullback to move back into direction of value, or directionally below these lows to continue the down move, because we're making lower highs and lower lows in an overall area of a higher high and lower low, which means we're trading in value, directionally down. It's that simple. Trading is not more difficult than just that. Until we turn around and say, okay, well now how do I enter it? Because if we say, well, we don't right now, then that means that we're not going to take action. And you can only take action if you want to be profitable. Hello, trigger of overtrading. So what happens on the next day? Price action moves down and breaks through this area. What happens if it comes down to these lows? We come down and we reject off of these lows. Where are we probably going to reject to? Let me make this bigger so everybody can see it, and my friends at TikTok can't see it either. So we'll move over here. There we go. Now we should all be on the same page. Price action rejected up here. Initiative price action through this whole area of the down move, pulling back into the initiative area. What's it probably going to do? Move back down. There, my friends, would be a reason to enter a short position. What, just off of this information here? Use whatever methodology you want to use, but this is where the methodology enters. The methodology didn't enter the day before unless you're doing a trend following methodology and you're anticipating a trend continuation, but we haven't even had a breakout yet. If you're anticipating a reversal, you probably don't want to reverse because you have a previous bar that closed near its lows. You should be anticipating a continuation to the downside. We have a rejection. Does that mean long? Not my rule book, not with this hold down here. Anticipate a continuation to the downside. We get a continuation to the downside. But this is a rejection bar. Do you want to short off of this bar? No, because it's a rejection bar. Do you want to go long? Maybe. You barely broke the lows here and rejected them. There's no acceptance in lower prices. There's rejection of lower prices. We already know what happened. Price action went up. What should you be anticipating on the next bar? Price action to continue higher. Why? Because it's a closed bar to the upside. Closed a little bit higher than the midpoint, but not exactly up to the midpoint. Not up here, so I'm not looking for a continuation play to the upside and breaking this high, but definitely an up bar testing to see if buyers are actually aggressive or entering this market. Let's see if I can just do one bar at a time. What happened? We get a pullback bar. It's a down bar. But what does a pullback do? Stays inside the range. We didn't break out of the range. What is this bar? A down bar. A down bar. An inside bar means it's non-directional, which means the market doesn't have any idea what it wants to do right now. Do we want to make a decision off of this bar? I sure in the heck don't. But you know what? If I was trading this day, I'd be going to a time frame like this, and I'd be looking for reasons to enter. Why? Because I'm focused on the result of trading profitably. not in the result of, do I want to take risk here? Does it make sense to take an expense trade on this bar? Because not every day is a day that you want to trade. I should repeat that. Not every day is not a day that you want to trade. Here's the thing about life. As long as we're alive and we're breathing, we don't have a choice but to live. We don't. We're going to be alive until something stops that. So there's always going to be today until our time runs out. Well, guess what? The markets. There's always going to be right now. There's always going to be today. There's always going to be movement. But is it the movement that you want to participate in? And as day traders, we have to be very, very careful with that. Swing traders are still short, unless they hit the profit target. Day traders, we have to pick and choose which days we want to trade. And what we want to do is trade every day and every moment. Why? Because we have results that we want to create. And as long as we want to create those results, what are we going to do? We're going to want to take action, which means we're going to be focusing on the short-term charts. We're going to be looking for our patterns or our system or whatever else we're looking for, opportunities. And we're going to be taking opportunities in places that we don't have any business taking opportunities, like on this bar here, trying to figure out what the next bar is going to be because we have no idea because we're not in a directional market right now. We're in a breakout in a ranged area. We have no idea what price is going to do, yet we're willing to take risk on a shorter time frame chart in this market condition. Hey, Ram, I'm going to pick on you, for example, for a second. Hello, Gex levels. Hello, unfair lows. Hello, unfair highs. Hello, low volume nodes. It's the same thing. And it irritates me. Why? Because this is what I do. Today's PA price action open bear on PW POC. Well, I'm not sure what PW stands for, but point of control. Completely rotated to last week's value area, so session was very tricky. Yesterday was very tricky too. Today was very tricky as well. But why are those days very tricky? I'll tell you why they're very tricky. It's pretty easy to see. The previous day we had a double distribution after doing a breakout and then an inside bar to the breakout on a very inside closed bar, non-directional, nothing. And then we turned around to have a double distribution day in a very, very tight area of value. There's no expansion. There's no anything else. It's tight, barely breaking the highs. This morning, when price action was, I don't know, someplace in here, maybe, I don't even know where it was. I don't remember. But I was looking for a possible continuation to the upside to come back up here and test this volume up here. Why? Because when we came in this morning, we opened up here, price action came down very swiftly, and we had two areas of distribution. And I was anticipating the high distribution up here to possibly be tested. Why? Because we have volume distributing above us into the unfair highs and possibly coming back and testing it. But as if we break below the value area low, of course, all bets are off. Well, what happened? We immediately came down and broke through and held value area low, expanding it all the way down for the rest of the day. Part of what makes a story difficult for us is a story that we tell ourselves. But how is that any different for life or from life? We tell ourselves difficult stories all the time, and then we live them. Because we don't tell ourselves the right stories. What are the right stories? Stories aligned to our conviction. Oh man, I really want to go fishing today. It's a really nice day outside. Man, that's my intention. We're just using this as an example. Little anecdote. Story within a story. I really want to go fishing today. It's really nice outside. Man, I got to mow the lawn. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. The wife wants this. The wife wants that. The kids need this. The kids need that. Well, now you don't go. What you could have done is said, okay, I want to go fishing today. You know what? I'm going to get this and this and this stuff done. I could push this stuff off. It doesn't have to be done today. I can mow the lawn tomorrow. And then I'm going to spend this time here and I'm going to go fishing. What do we do in the markets? We tell ourselves a story to look for entries, to find entries, to give us a reason to trade, not a reason to stay out. Because if we can't find a reason to stay out, we probably want to be in. And if we can find a reason to stay out, we probably don't want to be in. How many times have you gone over to a swimming pool and checked the water before you jumped in? We check the water in trading to find reasons to just jump in. Oh, look, cannonball. Where was I? Yeah. See, this market here, this particular day, this candle. Have no idea what the next bar is going to do. Does that look like a candle would be easy to trade? Maybe if you had reasons to get in from up here at the highs. Maybe reasons to get here and here at the low, but what's going to keep you from getting into any of these other areas just because it's at the high and the low and you don't know where the high and the low is going to be until after the fact? We're getting in here, getting in here. What about before those wicks were done and you had a wick here and you had a wick here? What would keep you out of the market then? Still indecision, but we barely broke the highs. On a down bar that closed near the bottom 1/3 of the range, but still above, buyers are still stronger into the market open because we were able to close above that open. But I'm still anticipating a down day, just not with a lot of conviction. Some conviction, not a lot, but I'm anticipating a down day. We got a down day, but it opened, came up, and then down. Wasn't a down day. We didn't close down. Be looking for the same thing here. Now we have an up bar. Now I'm looking for another up bar. And we got our up bar. But again, it's a reversal bar. So now we're looking for another reversal, another test of the highs. Few more sessions like today's will teach us a lot. Absolutely. But you know what though? Ram, today was actually still a really, really, really good day. It was a great day of trading. There were a lot of opportunities that I had in this market today. A lot of opportunities. Today was a really, really, really good day of trading. Yesterday was an amazing day of trading. Yet, harder days to trade. And that's okay. What made today pretty easy? This line right here. When you take this line going over the initiative and you bring it down to value area high and you drag it across and it matches the value area high of this bar, almost the highs of this bar, almost the highs of this bar, almost right where you start the initiative movement of this move here, okay? You get back through the initiative movement here, back right below this area, and what happened? The price action came right back to it, and we trailed off for the rest of the day. It didn't come back to it again. Very easy day to trade if you understand market structure and areas. This high of the initiative move here mattered. Why? We rejected it. We rejected it. We rejected it. We stayed below, stayed below, stayed below. We went below, created a bunch of value below it, then popped up. Stayed above it, stayed above it. This is the first day we came back and tested it again. And we tested it and we came down hard through it. Came right back to it. Bam. That was an unbelievable trade today. I was short at 880, 883. No, this is 946. I'm thinking of a different area. Here, I'll show you. I will show you. Where is it? I think it's around 11. 1030. Not that one. 1030. 1038. Right there. 680. I was short right here at 680. There's that area I was just talking to you about right there. Is that it? 996. Oh, no. This was earlier. This right here, this one was earlier. This one was the one that I picked up today and was shorted on my sim. This is that line right here. $996, $994, $996. This little area right here. Right there. We came down below it and we tested back into it and we never came back. We never came back. Came down, came close below, congestion, up, boom. And never made it back to that area. And then this is developing VWAP. This is the IB mid for the weekly. We have all sorts of things going on right here. Was that area. We came down. We came through it. We tried to test back through it again. We came right back up. Rejected off of it. And came screaming right back down again, making lower lows. Trading becomes really simple when we have structure. Life becomes simpler and easier when we have structure. The better the structure, the easier life becomes. The more convicted you are in your life structure, the easier life is. Think about it. When you're in college, you were doing any of those types of things. Work. When you have a lot of structure, you know what you're doing. You lose the structure, you lose what it is that you're doing. Trading is exactly the same way. And we overanalyze for structure, and we underanalyze for entries. At least I do. And that's one of the things that makes trading so difficult for me. It's not the analysis. It's not the methodology. This is yesterday. Let me get my charts back to where they're supposed to be so I know where everything's at and I can do this properly. How'd you mark those weekly and daily value volume levels on your chart? Is that from any indicator? So yeah, that particular lines there, those were from indicators, but all that they're doing is marking the weekly areas of value, just like you would off of daily. They're using the previous week's value. So all it's doing is it's taking the previous on the daily chart, it's taking the previous days and it's consolidating them into a value area. It's taking value area high, value area low, VPOC in the midpoint. That's all it's doing. All those things can be calculated all on their own. All right, this is 10 a.m. And I should have been short right up here in this area. But I started at 10 and I can't enter that late. So now I turn around and I sit here and I wait. And I wait. And I don't trade. And I wait. And if in case we come back up here into this area again, I'm going to go ahead and put an entry in case it gets there. Because I want to be short from there. And where's my stop? Right up here. If I want to, I can do it above initial balance, 400. But I like this risk right here a lot better. $135 risk for who knows? Who knows what would be available in that market if it comes up and it gets me. With VWAP being here, I could see a potential entry for a short here, right below VWAP. That wouldn't be that bad of an idea either. And if this one's wrong, right here. Right there will be a stop for 210. And I'm in right now, 525. Let's go ahead and lock in 250 right now. See if this low breaks. The low breaks, there we go. 355. Let's go ahead and just put this right above this little area right in here. Get a bounce through here, good. Trading below, up 700. Locking in 750, up 870 on the position right now. And stopped out at 845. That's a trade. Did I get my higher price up here? Nope, I sure didn't. Not at all. We're trading in value on a 15-minute chart. I'll bring it over so everybody can see it. We come up here and we test into this area of rejection up here. We have VPOC right above us and an area of a range. We're trading back into the higher area of that range with VWAP right above us. Right at 10:02 in the morning. That, my friends, is trading. $240-minute. Trading down. We came in here, almost filled this gap. We came up on a pullback of the 240-minute chart and anticipated continuation to the downside. Whatever you want to do to justify it. But everything is right there. All absolutely lined up. Perfectly. Now, for me, I sit back and I wait. Don't get into another position. I wait. What am I waiting for? Another setup. Another point for the market to tell me this is where you should be entered at. This is why I say much more so than anything else, I'm a discretionary trader. I've been looking at charts for so long that I don't know. Call it a feel, call it a read, call it whatever you want to. I don't know. But when I come in here and I start analyzing this, oh, this is doing this, and this is doing that, and this is going on here, and this is going on there, I mess with that subconscious chart reading capability that I have. And when I just come in here and let myself trade, when it makes sense to trade, works out pretty well. And that was also right at daily value area high as well. So now we wait. I'm not going to speed this up. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to wait. No pre-market analysis, no anything else. Just let myself trade. Do I have rules and things that I'm looking for? Sure. Like VWAP, but I'm not looking at, oh wow, are we trading above or below VWAP? We're around an area. We're around an area of interest, and most individuals will say that around an area of VWAP is an area of interest. What happened? We came up into it. We hit the daily midpoint, daily value area high, rejected off of both of those. I really wanted to be up here. Price action is holding VWAP as an area of resistance. Beautiful. If we get back up here into that area, let's go for it. Why not? Boom. Did I get every single tick out of it? Nope. Not even close. Could have I gotten more? Sure. What did I do? Traded the trade, trailed my stop. I'm not here to try to make X amount of money. I'm here to, one, not lose any more than I absolutely have to, and two, not give the market back any more than I absolutely have to. And this, to me, is not giving money back to the markets. If I'm out because I don't want to limit my risk in the position, beautiful. Then I'm out. Let her go. I don't care. Am I trying to chase it? Am I trying to look for entry points here to follow a trend? No, I'm not doing any of that. Why? Because we're not on a trend in the higher time frame charts. So I'm waiting. Where would I anticipate price action to go to? More than likely down here into yesterday's close, previous day's close, previous day's midpoint, both of them right here. Where would be a good place to try to look for a long? Right in here. And we have second standard deviation of VWAP right down here as well. I'd anticipate price action to come down here. Am I going to try to buy this? No. Would I try to buy it down here? Maybe. Let's see if we get down there. I'm not going to speed this up though, because I want to wait. I want to watch this. I don't want to see price get down here and then I'm trying to read it. I want to read it in real time. I want to practice this exactly as I would trade it. And my trading time is to start at 10 a.m. That way I don't get myself caught up in the open. Because my bad habit that bridges the gap between my conviction and my conduct, it's not my conviction of trading properly to my process. No, It's the fear of missing out on a position, the fear of missing out, the fear of missing something, the fear of not hitting my revenue goal, the fear of whatever it might be. That's what drives me to act. And if I see something in the charts, I'll jump at it. Because my habits lead my conduct, not my conviction. What's happening right now, my conviction is leading. That's what I need to be practicing. Not trying to figure out how to make more money, not trying to be right, not trying to show that I can trade, right? I need to demonstrate patience. I need to demonstrate that virtue. Today's VPOC or yesterday's VPOC. Can I take an entry off of yesterday's VPOC? Sure. Do I want to? No. We don't have this structure that we had here. This little sideways action after this nice little up move, after a nice down, producing this whole wildness here afterwards. No, we could get more wildness here. We could break back up again. I don't even want to be involved. And if we're around VPOC, what should we expect? Price action to rotate around this area. I don't want to get into rotation. I want to anticipate rejection. High volume, high volume. We have higher volume at the highs. Why didn't we break the high? Why are we rejecting the high if the higher volume is in here? Look, we're getting higher volume in here. Right down here. Not as high as up here, but we have higher volume down here, but we can't even break the low. We're coming back up to test the high volume. Rotation. Not just VPOC is telling us rotation, the bars themselves are telling us rotation. High volume, high volume, high volume. Anticipate it to come back down here and test. Does that mean I want to short this? I want to. I don't want to. My patterns want to. I'm sitting on my hands, not listening to my patterns. Because right now I know my patterns are leading my conduct, not my conviction. I can feel the difference between the two. This is natural. It's just like, okay, it's time. This, I'm trying to predict. I'm trying to be right. I'm trying to analyze. The analysis doesn't work for me. So I wait until I have conviction. And I have no conviction in here. I have a little bit of initiative action in here, this high volume area in here. See if we come back and test into these areas. But I don't want to short anticipating a test. I want to see if we come back and we test. And I'm not going in and analyzing order flow because I don't need to. But I do like to see the information. Like here. Came back and tested into the high volume in here on lower volume. I'm not anticipating price action to break through this. I'm looking at rejection there. Boom. Rejection. Now see, breaking the highs. I'm really glad now that I didn't turn around and try to buy in here, but what did we do? Look at the high volume. The higher volume around the highs, which is you anticipate at this point right here, that price action is going to break the highs. The high volume here, anticipate price action to break the highs. We just did. came off of them, came back and tested, higher volume again, anticipate this high to break. We come back up and test it again, right? We come back and test it, but look, lower volume on the test. Anticipate a pullback and a test back into your higher volume. To do what? Test back up into your higher volume up here. And where are we here? Volume point of control. Daily volume point of control. Developing volume point of control. What should we anticipate around volume point of control? Exactly what's happening. Rotational. Rotation, rotation, rotation. But you know what I do like? I want to see if we come down here and we test into these sellers right here is what I want to see. We have these no print to the buyers at all. And we have these sellers in here, 19, 16, 14. I want to see if we come down here and test into that area. We're testing into low volume in here, very, very low volume into this area. And what's happening when we get into that low volume area? We're rejecting out of it. Accepting into here. Let's see what happens when we get down in here. If we get down in here. Testing right back into the low volume again after breaking through it. Comes right down into it, breaks it. Doesn't break it, that's not what I meant. It holds it, holds that area. So what do I want to do? If we get back through this low volume here and it stops acting as resistance, look for a move up through here and a continuation to the upside for a scalp. Do I want to buy it down here? No. Why? Because we could easily find resistance here, just like we are right now, and price action not even move any higher than we're already at, and we can move down. So I don't want to buy this. My risk is here. My anticipation is momentum out of this area. So if we break through this area, I want to be in, anticipating momentum for a scalp to the upside. Where am I looking for the scalp to go to? Around 24 area. Back up here to test these highs. See? Lower low. Testing the sellers here is exactly what I wanted to do. See how we have that same type of situation over here, right here? This could be rejection. If we get below it, it's acceptance. If we get below it, probably don't want to stay in and looking for a long scalp here. Let's cancel that. See the difference? I'm not looking for a scalp entry here and just entering. I'm waiting for price action to move directionally in the area that I'm looking for it to move in. Remember these areas here that I was talking about? Yesterday's close, yesterday's midpoint. See if we get back down there. Hey, Legend, welcome. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Just doing some trading, some a replay of yesterday between 10 and 11, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Took one trade so far. Right here was my entry point. It's like literally right here. I held that down to, I got out here on this bar on the pullback. So I missed out on this, extension move, but I got the majority of that. That's where that was generated from, the 845. You can't see the 845. You still can't see it. There you go, the 845. All right, let's get back to this. Waiting to see if we come down here into this area. It's hard to see anything to get this chart set up properly for TikTok. It is not easy to do. Let's bring that over. In order to get price, you'll have to do that, and then you have to blow this up, and then you can't see anything to the left. Ugh. No, I love it. Did you join? No. I love it. I love it. Well played. Well played. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Not a lot to talk about here. We're just kind of in the middle, just letting price action do its thing at the moment. I'm looking to see what happens if price action comes down here in this area. And I'm on a replay. I could speed it up, but I don't want to. I want to do this like it's absolutely 100% live. $10.23. So we haven't been trading for a half an hour yet. I'm just watching myself internally. I was just talking to myself about a possible long entry here. Price action rejected down through here, right? We got some volume accumulating down in here and came up nicely. Price action's back above the high volume nodes of this bar here. We're accumulating some volume down here, but not quite here at the highs. So I was kind of anticipating that maybe this high could break, but that's the whole key, right? I'm talking to myself in my head about finding an entry. That's the problem. Here we go. We're right here in the areas. A little bit of rejection there. I'm going to go ahead and buy this using a tight stop right below it. $240 stop. Up 290 in the position. I'm going to lock in 50. Hey, Barat, you're welcome. What did you learn today? If you don't mind me asking, I'm just curious. And you're so welcome. I mean, I'm learning things right now too, especially just sitting back and just witnessing in my own head, what's going on in my own thoughts. Don't have a higher high yet. This is the part of managing the risk out of a position, right? I could keep my stop down here at the 240, but this position has been up almost $300 at one point in time. Well, I guess 240, 260, right? Do I really want to give $240 to $260 back in the market and then take an expense of $260? No, thank you. Doesn't sound like any fun to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and now we're up 300. I'm gonna lock in 100. Why? Could it go more? Sure. But if that's all the market's going to give me, I'm going to take what the market gives me instead of anticipating or expecting more. From me in big data, TPO. Yeah, no, and I'm going to definitely get more into the TPO analysis. I think it's extremely, extremely important in that concept. And I really want to get into, taking today's TPO areas and developing that into, how to analyze what we would anticipate for the next day, not to predict the next day's market and what it's going to do, to be able to, the type of day. I don't want to necessarily predict that, but help us predict what we would anticipate in terms of, do I want to do that? I don't think so. Not yet. Because we may not get momentum out of here. But I do want to look for this. So let me try to figure out how to articulate what it is that I am thinking here. I'm going to go into much more in depth on the TPO charts, and I'm going to get very detailed in the charts themselves and what it is that we're looking at. Not to predict the next day's day type, but to be able to sit back and say, okay, with this form of analysis, how can we utilize it based upon if tomorrow does X or tomorrow does Y or tomorrow does Z? This is a great session and learning from learning to me for UG. Oh, Bharat, thank you. I appreciate that very much so. I want to get out of the predictive phase because the predictive phase creates a conviction of me that controls my conduct, and I think I know what the market's going to do. Then I go to the short-term charts for it to basically confirm what it is that I think it's going to do. And every time I do that, I get myself into trouble. And I really want to try to stay out of trouble as much as possible. So I really want to stop doing it. And I really don't want a risk of more than $300 ever. So I'm not going to put my stop below this low here, getting into this position on this pullback. I'm going to put my stop here about 265. But I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive on my stop than I normally would and take a break even in case this does snap back against me, because I'm not in a place where I can manage it based off of the low. And stop placement. I really don't want to ever take a risk of more than $300 or of more than $300 ever. And is it going? Sure. Am I still in it? No. And that's okay. Let her go. I got what, $150, $140, $130 out of her? Something like that. I don't know. So I got $130 out of the move, out of two positions. Beautiful. We know we can get over $800 in a move. Let her go. 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 I just know what causes my bad habits in trading, and I'm getting better and better and better at recognizing those patterns. But those patterns are still affecting my trading way, way, way too much. And I notice that it's not just in my trading that they're affecting. They're affecting other areas of my life as well. And my thought is, I get a hold of them here, it's going to make my life that much better. And thank you for the kind words, Bharat. This is a great session. Thank you. I appreciate that. But something like this on the TPO charts, if price action goes here in this area, I would anticipate it to be this kind of day. If price action goes here into this area, I would anticipate it to turn into this kind of day. That gives us something we can work with. Rather than trying to predict, oh, it's going to be an inside day today, or it's going to be a double distribution, or it's going to be, a normal distribution day, or it's going to be, an imbalanced day. I mean, whatever, right? I'm not that good. I'm not that good. So I'm not going to expect myself to be as pinpointed in something that I'm not as good at doing. I'm just not. I'm going to be patient with myself and trade within my skill set, not trying to make myself into something that I'm not. Let's see if we can get a pullback here down into this area here. That's still a $325 stomp. 250, much better. Remember, we're holding yesterday's close. We're holding yesterday's midpoint. We're down over here on almost the VWAP of the previous day as well. The previous day's VWAP. All of this stuff is all coming in together in here. That's why I'm looking for the long positions. This area. Right down here. Holding. And why am I entering at pullbacks and not like market orders and stuff like I was doing before? Because I can't manage those as well. Here, I know exactly where I'm wrong, and I can manage my risk. And if the market goes, I can get some points off of it. If the market doesn't go, I'll scalp out my exit so I don't take I don't take a risk after I've been up a couple $100 in the move. More power to you for recovering your health soon. Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I checked DC. I'm glad to hear you're working on a course, and so you are having health issues. Yeah, that's why I wasn't. I had bronchitis, and I just didn't want to turn into pneumonia or something along those lines. So I just kind of basically took it easy for a little bit and let myself, recover naturally instead of trying to force it and getting pneumonia. And I'm prone to pneumonia. My lungs are weak. I've got weak lungs. So I'm prone to lung infections. Something that started when I was in high school, probably because I was a lifeguard and swim instructor in the Pacific Northwest, and I was constantly at the pool for I was always at the pool. I was on 2 swim teams, taught swim lessons. I was a swim instructor, and I lived like 3 blocks away from the YMCA that I worked at and I swam at, and so it was an indoor pool, always humid. Almost always 80, 85, 90 degrees in there because of the, keep the ambient air right, and always humid. And then I would leave there in my shorts and tank top and run home real quick, go grab something to eat and run back. Well, it'd be raining, 45 degrees out, 40 degrees out, from that change in temperature and those type of things. I think I wrecked my lungs, to be quite frank with you. I don't think the smoke inhalation of burning stuff in Afghanistan helped either. You don't know how to swim? That's okay. That's all right. We they used to have tests for that. If you float, you're a witch. If you don't and you sink, well, you weren't a witch, and well, you just didn't have to die, but you did anyhow because, well, you couldn't swim. God, I laugh, but my God, the The human mind and the things that we have done. It's ridiculous. This is one of the reasons why I'm working on this project, and I'm trying to figure out how to link this as a demonstration to the whole chasm between conviction and conduct, between choice and action, between what you want for your life and what you do, because they're two completely different things. And it's so annoying. Up 140 on the position. There's 200, so I'm going to go ahead and lock this in now to 45. Again, I'm just trading pullbacks here. I'm just scalping out pullbacks from this little move down here into this area. That's all I'm doing. And the market keeps going, right? It just keeps being rotational in those areas. And I don't want one of those rotations to snap down and turn one of these trades that I'm doing into an expense. So I'm just scalping this out. If it's going to give me more, it'll give me more. And if it doesn't, well, you know what? I'll keep doing this until it does. I was up 800 and something. Now I'm up 1,025. 3-4 trades, no expense trades yet. 10:35 in the morning. We'll do this until 11. We're right back here into the area again. In case we go back up through here, we hold this little area of standard deviation of VWAP. I'll go ahead and put in another position. You'll say, okay, Tony, but you know what though? You're risking $170 and you only took $45 on the next position. Isn't that an invalid system? Well, yeah, it could be, but not when I can turn around and get in or out, or get out with a lot more if one of these things runs. And then I have what was that one position? That one position I was just in, $240 expense, and we made a little bit over 800. It's a 4-to-1 trade. Going to sleep? Good night, Brat. You have a good one. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me even after I was gone. Truly, truly appreciate it. And if you notice, I keep getting in around the same structure. The same structural reason. And we were up 805, I think. Let's just call it 800. And now we're up 1,075. And so if I take $175 expense, we're still up 900, which is more than when I started in the scalping of this area right here. And if I take a full expense, the structure's broken. I'm not going to be trading it anymore. See if we can get into this one more time. It's coiling. It's going to break out. And I would really like to be in at the breakout. As long as it breaks out to the upside, because it wouldn't be any fun if it broke out to the downside, which is all possible to do. But with this initiation that came in here, this initiation, this rejection off of this yesterday's areas, yeah, no, I'm looking for a breakout to the upside. I'm willing to take the risk on it. There we go. Testing that high up there now. I'll go ahead and add in just a little bit more of revenue just in case it does come down again, which it did. And now look, now we have developing point of control, right? What are we anticipating now? Rotation. I don't want to do that again. I want to wait. I don't want to re-enter into this area again. But you know what I can do, though? $290. We'll take that. If we get down here into this area, if we break out down here, I'm going to be long off of this structure in here, looking for a continuation play to the upside. Again, holding this area and my stop just below this whole area in case it breaks a little bit. I'm still able to stay in with it. Looks like it came right down to the entry point again, retesting the highs. At least the entry point that I've been working off around through here. See, I'm not just trying to scalp or find reasons for entries for scalps. I have an area here of interest for me that I'm trading around for potential scalps based upon an overall higher time frame area. But now we have VPOC here, volume point of control. Today's volume point of control, developing volume point of control. Anticipate rotation. That's not pointing signs to a breakout. I don't want to trade around here anymore. I want to wait for the breakout and then look for a new area to establish possible positions out of. We have 20 minutes. See, this is practice. This is what I meant for this stream to be before I took my break. This is to me is what I mean by practicing, right? Practicing your trading. Okay? I'm not teaching right now. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just trading. And this is how I trade when I'm trading aligned to my conviction of trading. When I'm not trading around this, I'm very nervous. You know, you can hear it in my voice. My hands get sweaty, clammy. It's gross. But that's what happens. My internal clock, my internal makeup changes based upon what's controlling my actions, my behavior in trading. And it's like, I know that I shouldn't be listening to it, yet I listen to it anyhow, and I follow it. But right now, I'm not doing any of that. I have a conviction, I have an idea, and I'm just trading around that idea, completely managing my risk. This is a wide market condition, and I'm using a 10 point or less risk on most of my positions. At least with the scalps, I'll open it up a little bit more on the other ones, but on my scalps, that's all I'm doing. Now we broke out to the upside. What are we going to wait for? Another area to develop. And we're going to be following developing VPOC throughout this whole thing, which really sucks. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this because we broke out to the upside. There's no sense in trying to look for places where I look for re-entering in alongside at lower prices when we're moving higher. It doesn't make any sense. We have 17 minutes. Is anybody still here? I'm only asking because I wanted to see if anybody can hear any thumping or anything like that in the microphone. Hey Ram, can you hear it? Can you hear like the thumping like somebody's walking above me? Jason, Ram, thanks guys. I appreciate you. You guys are still here. No, it sounds good. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Um my my daughter decided to get a little walking mat thing and put it up in her room, and so she walks on it, and I was like, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but I wanted to check with you guys and see if you could hear it. She's up there using it right now. Jason, Ram, is this session more useful to you than the other ones where I'm trying to teach and I'm trying to trade and I'm trying to do all this other stuff at the same time? Um, or was the other way that I was trying to do things more useful for you? Put a one in the chat if it's the old way or two if it's the new way, just so this new session was better for you, just so I have an idea. So one, the old way was better. Two, this new way is better. Or three, if you don't see a difference. You learn just by watching how I go about my trading. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, you know, I blew up that account. I took in one trade a $4,500 expense and blew up that evaluation I was on, $1,500 away from $9,000, and it's very much affected me. And I had a lot of time, a lot of downtime to think about it um, over this last 8 days or so, and how I wanted to keep that from happening again, because it's not my nature to take a $4,000 expense. And I noticed the nervousness. I was talking about it as well, but I didn't know if it was just because I'm trying to trade live, I'm trying to demonstrate, I feel like I'm on the spot, and I don't think it had anything to do with any of that. I think it's my own internal issues that were coming in and creating a conflict with what it is that I need to be doing. And so I really, really started thinking about that. And I really actually thought about coming back into streaming and not streaming trading at all for a little bit and really focusing in on this idea of um, conviction and conduct. And as you can tell, I decided to try this one more time in the context of trading, and see what happens. But I think the real work is really into that whole idea of conviction, um, and conduct, because intention doesn't usually lead action, and that's the problem. And I know in my trading of what I was doing before, that was absolutely the case. My patterns were leading the actions of my trading, especially what created that $4,500 expense. That was just stupid. Part of it was a technical issue, but the more I looked at it, the more I analyzed it and those type of things. That was the start of what could absolutely be a downfall in my trading, and kind of a trigger to what happened after my divorce and what caused me to get out of trading in the first place. You know what? Let's see if we get a pullback here into this area. Very tight risk on this position. $130. Nothing saying it's going to come back down here. If it does, though, I blew many accounts. Blowing accounts doesn't affect me anymore. Something wrong with me now. But I know I'm getting better every day. Ram, that's all that matters, right? All that matters is that every day we do something to improve upon our walk, leading us into our intention. And I wasn't doing that. I got mixed up somewhere in the midst of all of that, and I wasn't doing it for myself. If that makes sense. And blowing up an account to me isn't about the result about blowing up an account. To me, it's about, what am I doing? Was that just an inherent risk of my methodology, the rules, or could it have been avoidable? And in my case, 100% avoidable. So it's not like I'm concerned about blowing up an account and like that's a bad thing or something along those lines. Not at all. It's more of, did I manage that well? Did I trade my process? Was it inherent? Or was it because of what's between my ears? And it was 100% because I blew it up because of what was in between my ears. This is tempting. This is very tempting. No, nope, we broke the lows. Beautiful. So if we can come back down into the area that I have marked here for the entry, we might be able to make it back up into developing point of control. 0.23 or 0.3 and a quarter would be the entry. 14.75, 10 points, perfect. That's 10 points, it's $200. It's enough movement in case we rotate back down again. A couple ticks away from my entry. We might get it, we might not. Okay, got filled. Let's see if we get a bounce from here. There's 200. Move this back up. I don't need to lock in 60 right now. I'm gonna give this a little bit more room. Only because we're rotational in here. We have the volume point of control right above us. Bouncing off of that, looking at rotation, I probably should have locked in the 60, but that's fine. Break even trade. Didn't lose anything on it. Took a shot. It's 10:54. We got 6 minutes. Yeah, right there looks good. Right there looks good. Let's see if we can. So we have daily value area high up here. We have, we came, we didn't quite come into that area, right? We still have room to move up in that context, but it's developing, right? If price action stays down below VPOC, it can shift. We have VPOC up here, right? We've got VPOC, we've got rejection above us. See if we can come up to this area and give us a reason to short and look at moving back down into yesterday's close. On a very tight stop, $155, so less than 10-point stop. Trust me, if you can trade the NASDAQ with these types of stops here, this tight of a stop, you have and you're able to let runners run, right? Those two things, right? Tight stops, let runners run, okay? You have a pretty good probability, a foundation of probability to be profitable over time. But if your stops are too tight and you keep getting out with expenses upon expenses, then you don't have enough revenue positions to make it profitable. So just keep all of that in mind as what I'm doing here. But if you can take $150 stops like this and you don't run into too many expense trades, you can do okay for yourself in this market. If you know how to let runners run. Because all these trades could basically break even for you, and all you need is one runner to run and a couple of them to run each week to do nicely over a month period. Now this one's just going against me here, right? So if it doesn't stop me out here, I'm going to be very quick to move this stop and reduce the risk in this position. Now we're trading back above VPOC. Took the first expense on the day. We're at 1,030 now. Still $1,000 day. Took an expense. What was that? $155, $135, something like that for an expense, something like that. One of the two. But we're continuing to the upside here, right? Continuing nicely to the upside here. This will be the last position right here. And the stop loss on this, 135. No, we can go down below. Yeah, we'll risk 260 on this position because it's a breakout. This isn't a scalp. This is more of a breakout move to the upside. And we have some decent movement, value area high above us, daily midpoint, the 43s, 26. We got a good 20, 30 points that we could see possible movement up if we were to get into this position from here. Let's see what happens. Decent sellers there off of the high, coming off value area high. We have a nice close though on the 240. We have a nice close off of the hourly. And we have a nice close off of the 15-minute. I'm still looking for a continuation play to the upside. It may not come down to me. But I'm not going to chase it. The move I wanted has already happened. So I'm going to wait. And it's 11:03, and that's it for the day. Yesterday, $1,030 in revenue. Any questions? I'm just curious to see how yesterday played out. So now I'm going to speed it up because I'm not trading it. Oh, that would have been a really nice trade, wouldn't it? Oh, you know what? Wait. That's not a bad area for a reversal right there. That's not a bad area for a reversal at all. Let's see if it comes back up and gets me. I don't know if it's going to or not. And she's already starting to come down. But that's not a bad little area. Sorry, TikTok. You guys aren't going to be able to see this right now. I apologize. But I want to see something. Oh yeah, this isn't a bad little area at all. Yeah, this move could come back down into the 200s. See if it gets me in. I want to be in a short here. I'll tell you that much right now. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for price action to come to me. I'm not going to price action. This is one of those positions I wouldn't mind to be in too. be in here and be in just a little bit above this area as well. It would reduce the risk. Of course, it increased the risk because you got 2 on, but it also reduced the risk a little bit too. We're coming off of yesterday's high, and we've already broke down through areas of rejection of the prior areas of consolidation. We broke through these areas already, right? Rejection, but we're in yesterday's high area. Oh yeah, no. And rotation, non-directional rotation, yeah, definitely looking for a possibility of a continuation to the downside. Let's see if we can get some momentum here. I need to bring this chart back so everybody on TikTok can see it. There's nobody can see it right now. There. Scrunch her up so nobody can see anything. There. Back into initial balance here as well. So if it's a rotational day, would definitely anticipate it to rotate back down into possible initial balance lower right down here around the 170s. I was already looking at 200s as the target. So I'm going to give this a little bit of room here. I'm not going to be as quick to move my stop on this. I am going to move it down to almost a break even. We're going to take a $260 expense and we're going to bring it down to 55. Because we made a lower low here. I would really like to see a lower low down here. Of course, right? I'm in a short, so of course I'm going to want to see it go down. But this lower low here is enough for me to go ahead and take the majority of the risk out of the position. I'm still going to risk a little bit, but it's going to be a very small risk. Rotational between these two high volume areas. Bounce back up again. I don't like that price action. Let's go ahead and get out with a break even. I can get back in if I need to. But I don't like that price action. I don't like how he created a higher low here. Okay, sorry TikTok. I'm gonna have to make this bigger. I've got to see what's going on here. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see this. All right. If we get back through here, if you want to be able to see this and you can't see it because you're on TikTok, join Tube or the Purple app, and you'll be able to see it from there. So what I'm doing here is looking for a continuation play to the downside, rejection from these highs. If price action, this bar closes up here, then it's different. Okay, it closes at its high. But if we come back down here and we get back through this area again, this is just another higher high on lower volume. Anticipate now a continuation to the downside. Instead of trying to get in at that upper high here, which could have just taken off to the upside and broke this structure, this is actually now holding structure. And now I'm looking for a continuation play to the downside with basically the same risk as I was looking before. And now I'm looking for momentum to possibly come into the market to the downside. Man, this is so hard to see. I don't like it because it's hard to see. Kind of a little lower than I really wanted to, but that's okay. It's still less than 300 on the risk. There's the momentum I was talking about. Let's see if we can get a continuation of that momentum. I don't really want to see a pullback from VWAP. That's not a good sign. I don't want to see a higher high here. If I see a higher high, I will get aggressive on the stop. In fact, you know what? If it's a higher high, I want to risk less. Perfect. We're going off of this high instead of the structure high, because we're seeing rejection off of the first standard deviation of VWAP. And we're already holding it. So buyers could be in here. But buyers here is fine. We're just treading around an area. Let it be buyers stepping in to begin with. That's all well and good. If we break this high, we have buyers stepping in enough to be able to make higher highs. That's not what I signed up for in this position. So limit the risk. There's no sense in taking a full risk in a position like that where you're seeing possibilities of buyers being able to step into the market. Broke the low. So now we have a lower low. Where's our structure at right here? I want to see this break right here. I want to see a bar break that structure. Let's see if it happens or not. We had momentum come into the market there for a second, but no follow through. See how the market's speeding up again a little bit? This is a good sign, but we're not making lower lows right now. And we're just coming off of an area of making higher highs off of the daily perspective, right? But we're up here right now in developing value area high. Broke these lows again, immediately finding buyers. Remember, we're at initial balance. We're initial balance range right now. We're at the high of initial balance. I'm giving this one a little bit of room because we're in the higher area of rotation right now. This is the room that I should have given it off of the weekly area in the weekly structure. Broke the low again. Beautiful. Let's see if we break this low. Broke the low. That's my signal now. I can move the stop to a break even. And that was a daily high of 1 day ago, not the value area high, the daily high, yesterday's high, previous day's high, whatever you want to call it. That's what that was. I knew it was something, as I'm looking at value area high right up here. So we're in unfair lows, right? And we came up, we tried to break through yesterday's high, and we rejected it, right? And we came right, and that's right above initial balance. We came back down into initial balance. We held this area, okay? That's why I'm looking at this short and I'm holding on to it. Instead of getting out with a little scalp like I was doing my other positions, I'm holding this one. We can delete this line. That was just an arbitrary line for this low here, breaking that low. So I knew when to set, move my stop, because I can't see that area anymore because of the small footprint I'm on with the TikTok stuff. Coming up and testing initial balance, we're testing into this high volume, we're testing into the low volume initiation here, right? So this initiative action was really solidified off this low volume. And then we started to gain volume below here. We're testing into that low volume. See if this is rejection or if we get acceptance above it. We're not breaking the lows. We're up a little over 300. I'm going to go ahead and lock in some revenue here in case this just goes up against us. But I'm also going to see if I can't get into a higher price, if it gives it to me. A better price than I was already in. Take a little bit of revenue out, right? A little bit of revenue, not a lot, a little bit. I don't know if we'll get in here or not, but it's there. We pulled what, probably $30 out of that move. $30 with a 265, 235 instead of the initial 290. That's why I'm doing it. The initial risk was 290. Now it's only 265, plus we just made 30, right? So $235 on the initial risk. I've already saved $600 or $60 of risk off the table by doing that little maneuver there that I just did. Still holding yesterday's high. The stop is above yesterday's high. Now let's see if we can get back down into the lows again. These lows down through here, not all the way down, right? Back down, break these lows again. I'm going to want to put another line in there right here. I should have just kept it there, but I don't need another line in my chart. I need another line in my chart like I need a hole in my head or another hole in my head. Something like that. Isn't that how the saying goes? In chart only, though? And if we're going to go down, when we break this here, I would anticipate to move down into this area down in here, or the area down in here pretty rapidly. And if we don't, we could see rejection in this area and price action moving back up again. And so I'm going to be very careful of that, and I might move my stop again. See the buyer stepping back in again, tested right into the high volume. We tested right back down into the initial balance, right down into that area that I was just talking about all over again. Beautiful. That I like to see. Now we have momentum. That's the momentum I was hoping to see earlier. Just didn't quite get it. Now let's go ahead and take the majority of the risk out of the position, and we're going to risk 45 bucks on the position. And now I'm going to do my best to actually hold this because of this initiation that just came in. This initiative action to the downside. I'm hoping that we don't see much rotation in here. I'm hoping we can break down through these lows pretty rapidly. Finding buyers again here at VWAP. One standard deviation above VWAP. Still holding initial balance. We have buyers all through here. Which means what? Eventually, if we start breaking these lows down in here with all these buyers stepping in here, all these buyers stepping in here repeatedly, buyers stepping back into this area in here, if we break this low structure in here, we could see some stops being hit below that and moving us down pretty rapidly. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying with the buying pressure here in this market, right? And seeing the buyers here, repetitively buying through these areas, anticipate some momentum coming in from a possible stop run and from those areas. I'm just looking to see possible lower targets of what I would be looking for. 3170 is a possibility. Back down into that area where I went long from would be a possibility as well. We break through there and this could be gonzo for a bit. Gonzo, we'll see. As one of the traders I like to watch, like, go all the way to Valhalla. I like that. To the moon and beyond. $5.45. I'm going to go ahead and lock in a little bit of revenue here. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and lock in 165 right now. Through daily midpoint. Little rotation here between the two. Maybe come up into value area high again. Developing value area high. Back through, be anticipating price action to break this low. Delta's increasing again. Retested it, expecting the lows to break. On cue, thank you so much, NASDAQ, for making me possibly look smarter than I actually am. Appreciate you. For another push to the downside here. Not really getting it. And move this down, lock in 300. We're up 610 right now. 650. I'm locking in 300. That was the push I was looking for. Now I'm looking for a possible higher high here. See this rejection down here? Nope. We're going to break the lows instead. Beautiful. Even better. I like it. You can just keep doing that. I won't complain. Up a little over 700 there. Maybe around 800. I don't know. I didn't even look. I wasn't paying attention. I was just moving my stop. I'll lock in 415 right now. That might be a little bit too low, but we'll see. I'm still looking for 200s as a possibility of a target, possibly the 170s. So I'm trying to give it room. What was the risk on this position? It was less than 250, 260. Plus I was up at 30. So I think it was 260 on the position, right? We're already locking in 415. So almost what, a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio Here we're up 650, 700, right? 680. I'm letting this thing run if it's going to run. And that's what I mean by risk reward ratio. It's very difficult to determine a risk reward ratio for, when you're scaling in or scaling out of positions like this, right? Or when you're using a trailing stop and letting runners run. So you really need to be analyzing more of a profit factor, right? Using a profit factor on formula rather than an actual risk reward ratio or a just going off of a win loss percentage, because a methodology like this, you could have a 30-40% win rate and still be profitable. Might even be able to be less than that too. It could be closer to 20-25%. I'm not sure. I don't have the stats on it, right? But that's kind of the point of this. Now, if we break the low here, I'm going to be moving the stop. But we got to break the low here. This low, not this low, this low. We need to break the low of this structure. We're finding support here, which is where there was some initiative action before, right through here, right? Yeah, the seller's kind of trapped in here and price action just went up. That was the area I was looking for the long, but I put it in here instead of up here, right? And so price action went up from that point. So that's the structure there of where the longs, right, were in control. Structurally speaking, they're defending this area. So I'm just trying to give it room. Might have given it too much room, as I'm giving a lot of the revenue back. There's a good possibility we could possibly move from here. If I was able to see more of the chart, I probably would have been more aware of that, because I could see all of that structure here, right? Very low volume here. No volume here at the highs. Look for that continuation play to the downside. Gaining volume down here at the lows. Might pull back here into this area. If we break this structure here, we could move through it pretty rapidly. Now I'm going to go ahead and move this stop. Not by much. Right above the developing value area high. And so we're locking in 450 now instead of 415. And we were up about $800 in the position so far. 755. So what? Yeah, I'm right around 800. Oh, there's a nice little movement down. Rejection there from the area. But remember when I was talking about the buyers, right? That's the type of action you would expect to see in terms of sequential stop runs or sequential stops being there. We're already here at daily VWAP. Got right through it. Right through it. We're up 950 right now. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more aggressive on this. We're 50 points directionally. We could be expecting a possible pullback. We got this strong momentum in here. We're already been up $1,000 in this position. I don't want to give everything back. This is where I want to be a bit more aggressive. Let it run. Take what she'll give me, right? But we're already at, in this context here, 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. And now I'm locking in 930. So if we were at 260, 3, 4 would be 8. 1,020, almost a 4-to-1. Where are the other lows at over here? They're not way down here. Yeah, we definitely have room. 1100s. Now we're going to lock in 1,000. So now we have over a 4-to-1. Lock in 1,060. As you can tell, I'm getting a little bit more aggressive on this. And there's the stop. $2,200 on the day. And that's it. It's 11:41. End of the day. I was looking for 2170 to 200, and now we're way down, but we're at 208 right now. So I didn't quite make it to the 200 range like I was looking for. I didn't hold it quite that long. We were in from up here, daily high. Yeah, we were in from up here around the 270s. 270s and held it down to the 220s, somewhere right around in here. I think the 224 is the mid 220s. We hit 2008 and bounced. Or 208. Not 2008, but 208. Any questions? Anybody have any questions from the session? Oh. Hour and 42 minutes of trading, $2,200 in revenue, 1 expense trade, 3 or 4 scalps, and 2 positions that actually went. One of the ones that went was for 800, the other one was for a little over 1,000. So $1,800 in revenue in the ones that went, and then the additional revenue in the scalps, and that's after the expense trade. So even after the expense trade and the scalps, you're still in revenue by $120, $140. So scalps generated a little bit of revenue, even though they also caused one of the expenses. That is how I trade when I'm trading conviction and trading areas. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low, weekly open, weekly close, yesterday's close, developing value area high, value area low, VPOC. And when I trade those areas and nothing else in between, I do pretty well. I messed with the middle there a little bit off of the move from the daily or from the weekly perspective down here. Where was that at? Where was that entry at the low? Does anybody remember? It was down here, wasn't it? Yeah. So my entry off of this down here, right? The previous day's close is right here. Okay. Previous day's midpoint is right here. So you have areas stacking in here, right? And then we also have this VWAP, right? This second standard deviation VWAP below us as well. And all I was doing was just scalping in the direction of this move because I didn't hold it, as I got out of it early. So I just scalping directionally up in that move. So as I'm playing in the middle, is that fiddling in the middle? Yes, but in the direction from this. And then I took that short from VWAP from here. Didn't pan out, but I like that short. We tested the VWAP. We could have rejected it. I didn't let that deter me. We came back up here into previous day's high above IB. I took a few shorts from in there. I got stopped out a few times for break-even trades. A little bit of revenue, mainly just break-even, but that's okay. Each time I got back in. If you can't get back in, just trade it once. If you can get back in, you're good to go. But as I showed you, right, I had a $290 initial risk and then brought that down to what, $230 due to revenue and just getting it at higher prices. Did I get the whole move? Absolutely not. Am I ever going to get the whole move? No. No, I don't have a crystal ball. I do. I have a crystal ball. I don't have batteries. So if anybody knows where to get batteries for a crystal ball so I can see into the future, let me know. I'll give access to it to everybody. Don't tell me go looking for Kimlite batteries either. Thank you for playing. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for this session. I truly appreciate you. Appreciate each and every single one of you. And I will be back on tomorrow. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and join Discord. We'll go through those questions. Tomorrow, I'm going to go through more of the TPO charts and go through that information. What does a TPO look like in terms for this trading day? Right here. We came in trying to break the highs, right? I was going short right around the 280s, which is right around the value area high. Up here, as we're developing this higher volume, and now it's coming down. What are we probably going to do on this particular day? We're probably going to come in and test into these highs in here. We could possibly even come in and test into these highs. I'm not quite sure exactly what it did. I don't remember. But I wouldn't expect it to go down much more than it already has. We can figure out what it did pretty quickly. Go ahead and exit that replay. So yesterday, right, we came in and we tested into the high volume node right there. So we came down quite a bit more. We came down into the 500s. So I left a lot on the table, but that's okay. I don't mind doing that at all. And then last night, what did we do? Consolidated, and then we broke, right? This consolidation right here happened in the Asian session, and then we broke down, and then we just continued down for the rest of the session. And it is 5:22. Let's see if I had anything in here for a short. No, man. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Initial balance. This is the initial balance low, or the initial balance high, excuse me. So we already came up here into that area. Yeah, right here. I could have seen a short there. I could see a short here for a stop. I can see a short here for revenue. I could see that stopping me out on the revenue. And I really don't see anything else setting up anywhere in the charts. That's about it. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate each and every single one of you. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is what, Wednesday? Is tomorrow Wednesday? Yes. Jeez, I'm losing track of days. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I will be on here around 3 p.m. again tomorrow. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Truly appreciate you. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subscriptions. And we will see everybody tomorrow. Guys, have a great night. Enjoy. Great night, great day, depending on where you are in the world. And as always, be safe. Be kind. And know